great to have everybody with us. I appreciate everybody watching. I've got to tell you that I was really impressed with how many people I met at Trail Hero that said they had watched this broadcast, and that's really cool. And I greatly appreciate it. And I'm glad to hear that people are getting a lot out of it. So cool stuff. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Today, I've got Jamie, Alex, and Richard Garrett in here to give me a hand. And we will be talking about Trail Hero, our whole recap. I've got a bunch of slides to talk about, what trails we ran, all the rides we gave, recovery, the Jeep night we did, which was absolutely off the hook. So I want to tell you guys, as always, we recommend, or we welcome, sorry, not quite with it. We welcome your questions and comments. Please include the Jeep and model year that you have so that I can better answer all those questions. If you guys are enjoying this broadcast, please like, share, make sure that your friends know we're doing this and include them. So that would be cool. Let's see. I don't have any featured products today, but one of the things I wanted to talk about was we offer a radio plate that if you've got a TJ or LJ or even a YJ, these things go in and it gives you a blank plate. So you take the radio out, you put this thing in, you can put switches, USB plugs, all kinds of things. It's made out of aluminum, and it just goes in and fills that space very conveniently to allow you to mount other stuff. So if you get a chance, you can check that out. We've uploaded a bunch of new stuff to our new products section on our website. Get over and check that out. All right, let's jump in to Trail Hero pictures. So I'm assuming everybody can hear me fine. Jamie, we don't need this other light on. We're okay there. All right. If you've never been out to Sand Hollow, this is a beautiful area overlooking St. George, Utah. And you've got the reservoir there at Sand Hollow. This was obviously shot from one of our runs. I think this is up at the top of Double Sammy. We've got our whole crew out there. These are a combination of friends, ambassadors, customers, a lot of different Jeeps there. And the group moved really well through the trail. It was quite a pleasure. And you can see we had TJs, YJs, buggies, JKs, all kinds of stuff there, LJs. So pretty cool. And weather was very warm while we were there, and we got to wheel a lot of trails while we were there. So really a nice time. Let's take a look at what else we got. Here's our group going through the Maze Trail, and this is actually kind of a cool shot that Jamie got, really showing all the different Jeeps we had there. I ended up leading the trail most of the time, so it was pretty fun out there. As you can see, everybody's got to have a flag on their Jeep because you go through the dunes, and they want to make sure that there's no head-on collisions out there. So pretty cool. Let's see what else we got here. Come on, TV, cooperate. There we go. Another shot coming up through some of the obstacles on Double Sammy. I think this is overlooking the lake. Camping is just down below. Our RVs are right down in this area here. So much like Johnson Valley, you can literally leave from your RV, go through, in this case, a short area out to the trails. Pretty neat how you can access all that stuff without even getting on the road. So that's pretty cool. And Jeff Perkins brought out our bow tie that we've had forever, our bow tie TJ with our Legend suspension. Also on the Mickey Thompson MTZ tires, and just wheeled the absolute daylights out of that. He had a great time in it, was thoroughly impressed with what it could even do, now. So Just goes to show you that even something we built, 17 years ago is still doing pretty good. This is Adam Pfeiffer and his wife Kayla. They came down from Northern California. Adam's got a bunch of our parts on his Jeep, and he is my token ORI guy. We might as well just get that out of the way right now. He loves the ORI shocks, and but otherwise he's an okay guy. So we'll leave it at that. Here's Kelly. He's actually given my mom a ride on this one. I appreciate that. Mom said she was looking at nothing but the sky. He was artfully waiting for the rear tire to hit this and rotate around and come back down, but it made for a good picture. And Kelly's really getting some good seat time in his Tracer LJ there. He's also what we call the Marlboro Man. I don't know how well zoomed in you are here, but he's got his cigarette in his hand. So there's Kelly out on the trail. This was one of the gentlemen that I ran into out there that said he watches the Tech Talk. Glenn? Okay, this is Glenn. And he came up, talked to me for a minute, and it was great. Just getting to chat with him about how he watches these live broadcasts. So that was pretty cool. And nice to get to meet him. Oh, here we go. They did a ladies run, and some of the guys dressed up like ladies so they could get on the run. This would be Terry with Mark. And they're standing next to Aaron's Jeep, which turned out really nice. I think we've got some pictures of that later in here. You can see this is the vendor area, and we're right down by the lake, which is real nice. So, and I guess Terry made his way over to Richard too, in the booth there. And as you can see, it's a pretty busy vendor area. Everybody had a great time. It's fun to see everybody. And of course, everybody's been cooped up and restricted because of COVID. So it was nice to get out and actually be in the fresh air with everybody. So this looks like the Silver Surfer out on the trail again. This might be joint effort. This is the Fallen.
Yeah.
So, all right, this is it is the last obstacle. So this is right after I rolled.
That's Kelly's line, or just before you?
Or just before.
So that's Kelly's line, and the next picture is your line, and your tires.
Oh, this is the one where it comes around. Okay. So second to last obstacle. Okay. Our group made fairly quick work of this, and this is a fun trail if you ever get out there. I think this is rated an 8. So fun obstacle. You can see, I always tell everybody, when you see spectators standing around, that you better be heads up because they don't stand out in the middle of nowhere for no reason. So
talk about the line on this obstacle, because that's going to kind of preface what's...
Is it good to talk about it on this picture or the next picture?
The next one? See what you think.
Okay.
So the front end needs to slide down and around.
Yeah.
Yada, yada.
So I came through first. I had done this last year. I didn't really remember. It's much more intimidating from the other side as you approach the obstacle. There's a good ledge down here where Richard is to get up into this thing. It's sand down at the bottom. So if you don't get up at the first time, you just spit out everything and you're just making it worse for you and every guy after you. You got to get in this thing and then pivot around and drive out through here. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 steps to this obstacle to get through it successfully. And I led the way through. Obviously, when we had Kelly come through, what I did was I had him keep his rear wheel down in this crack, which gets the front end to rotate around a little nicer. So it's a cool obstacle if you ever get a chance to get out there and check that out. So
He went straight.
He went straight up, yeah. Now he's running 42-inch stickies. Obviously, it's a buggy, long wheelbase, rear steer. A lot of things happening there. And he had his son, Cameron, one of our ambassadors, spotting for him. So that was kind of cool, too, to see him be able to do that. This looks like Stephen Birch coming down through the maze. This one's a little bit tricky, guys. You can't see this side as a driver. So you can see some of the marks on the rock. You're coming down, but what happens is this tire climbs this, and then it drops off like 6-7 feet, and you get a rude awakening. So you really got to come down this quite slowly and skillfully, or yeah, you can get a big bang, or even worse, end up on the lid. So, but that's a cool picture, just kind of looking through the rocks out to where the Jeeps are coming down. This was another bowl off the faulty something or other. We ran, this is Cord Killinger, one of our ambassadors out of Arizona, and super nice guy. His Jeep set up very similar to the Wolverine. It's got the full Elite suspension, cage, everything, B-pillar delete, half doors, all aluminum, 40-inch Baja Bosses, and he wheeled the heck out of this thing. It was great to see him out there. I don't know if you can see it from there, but you can see his rear sway bar tied up. Another guy that I convinced to ditch the training wheels.
Why are you looking at me?
So, yeah, good stuff. Let's see what else we got here. There's, of course, me. It looks like I got people in the back seat. Is this the one where people rolled? What did
Yeah, that's where Eric rolled.
So this is on the maze. This is a little bit tricky, guys. You got to bump up these steps, and this is what I would call, you need 2 times walking speed. You can see, I want to point out, there's a couple of telltales here. If you'll notice, I am climbing a wall, but my brake lights are still on. You know what that means? That means I'm applying drag to the drive line with the brake pedal, and that is keeping the drive line engaged. That means every tire, every locker, everything is engaged to take me up that obstacle. I saw so many times where 1 or 2 of the tires was jerking and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. That's what happens when you don't engage the drive line and keep it under load. This way, all 4 tires are driving equally, and the motor is in its sweet spot, and you're able to drive right up. We went up this like a breeze. I think this was Kevin Carey and his fiance in there with me, along with Debbie in the front seat, and we just drove up at like a paved road. So if you hit the line, have the proper engagement of the drive line, it makes a difference. This one, what I want to tell you, is a little bit tricky. If you slide off into this hole, you will be on your lid just like that. And I think we might have a picture of that, right? So this is somewhere else on the Fallen, I think, or no, what's the trail before that? It's the Front Range. So this is over on Front Range another day, but a nice picture of Mark's stretched LJ with the tracer kit on it. Here's Cord. This is coming up the last obstacle on the Fallen Trail. If you have a sharp eye, you can see a couple of the wet spots from where my Jeep was previously laying a few minutes earlier. And Jeff is skillfully guiding him up. Guys, this crack is so big and so wide that if you fall into it, we're going to take your Jeep apart to get you out of there. That is no joke. You are going to destroy your Jeep if it falls in there, either side. So, yeah, good one. If you ever get up there, when you get up to this spot, after the front wheel drops down, you got to nail it or the back corner drags on the rock. So, I don't know if we got any pictures or video of that, but that's kind of a cool thing. This is Bowtie and Jeff. I'm trying to figure out where this is.
I think that's Front Range. That one off.
Okay. I don't know. This was a common thing in my rearview mirror with Jeff. Every time I look back, he was leaning over like this. So
This was the first obstacle on Front Range.
it was okay. So yeah, no, Jeff did great in this thing, and he said he really liked the MTZ tires too. So I heard him say that several times. So yeah, that's another great shot. I love the focus, stuff. So that looks cool. T-Moto up in its natural element somewhere out there. Probably waiting for the rest of the group somewhere. But I was having a good time nevertheless. So, again, Baja Boss tires did great. Everything did great. Oh, by the way, this is post. Right, so I can see the hood latch is broken. I'm missing my mirror, and there's a little dent in the cage back there. That's it. So, must be. We got questions. Let's have some questions.
Terry Runyon, do you always use your brakes on inclines like that?
I use my brakes all the time. So
explain why.
Every single person that rode with me noticed I was driving two-footed, and it was somewhere within the ride that they would say, "Why are you doing that?" And I would demonstrate to them how I would take my throttle foot and set the RPM that I wanted to go, and then I use the brake to control my speed. And by doing that, you take all the slack out of the driveline. So every time I come up to a ledge, a rock, whatever it is, my vehicle doesn't go bunk and stop and bump back. The tire actually just climbs what it's after. It makes it's easier on the driveline. It makes the ride a lot smoother. It's a much better experience. If you ever, like many people did this time, have an opportunity to ride with me, you should check it out, and it'll open your eyes to a whole new world of how to wheel. So yeah, very effective way to drive. I didn't start doing that until I raced KOH. That was a big thing to lower the fatigue level during the day, because you've got to go over so many rocks during the day. And that technique is, I've just adopted it, and it's become the way I drive now, and it works really, really good. So, any more questions right now? No? Any other notable comments or people watching? How are we doing? We got pretty good number of guys going? Okay.
Earlier in the broadcast, I forgot his name, but he wanted to say thank you for donating to Oceano Dunes Foundation.
Cool. Probably Jared. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, you're very welcome. I like doing that stuff. Okay. So, anyways, the only thing you really see here is that the front fender is perfect, but the fender skin that it's bolted to is a little bit smushed in. So, we always talk about that. We always talk about how our parts are much stronger than what they're bolted to. So, just keep that in mind. Here we go. Okay. So, explanation here. What I was trying to do was back up into this spot here to get a good run at this crack that we showed you in an earlier slide. So the rear tire slipped off, the Jeep slowly rolled over, and now I've got a nice display of Summit Machine links and our flat belly going on. Guys, this is a great example of having the right equipment, right? So some of my fellow wheelers here run over to check and see how I'm doing. I'm literally suspended in air by my 5-point harnesses. I'm perfectly fine. I didn't have a tendency to stick my arm out. I just held onto the wheel. And Debbie said she was outside. She said within just a couple minutes, we had a Jeep pulled up and around. We hooked the winch on and were able to winch me back over on the wheels. So the whole thing didn't take long. What I want to emphasize is this is a great example of wheeling with people that know what they're doing. So first off, nobody was drinking, okay? Because this is one of those situations where now everybody needs to be sharp and thinking and on their feet, and I want to make sure that the guy that's winching me over doesn't take his foot off the brake, or he's standing outside his vehicle, and now I got some bullet or torpedo coming down toward me to run into my vehicle that's already upside down. Second, I noticed that the tendency when I ended up going over was that my friends were ready, right? So everybody knows it's a tough trail. They've got their winch equipment ready. So as soon as this happened, whether it was me or another guy on our trail, everybody was ready to help jump into action and not stand there and go, oh, well, that's a bummer. Like, what do we do now? That's all precious time that you're letting oil come up into the intake manifold. You want to get a vehicle back over as fast as you can. So very important. The next thing I want to point out was the folks that were helping me wanted to hook the winch onto my cage right here, okay? But what needed to happen, and what I instructed them to do, was hook it all the way on the bottom side. So when you're down under here, you roll the vehicle back over. Instead of jerking it and dragging it, you're rolling it. So I did want to point that out. We had a soft shackle. We quickly hooked it on there, and we're able to upright the vehicle right away. So, yeah, those are all. Do we have any questions on that right now while we're on this slide? Or no? Okay, we're going to go ahead and keep going. What's that?
You have a question.
Okay.
It's not related.
Mike Malosh, he's four-linking his 92 YJ, and it says here, do I have to keep the top link on my four-link level?
So if you're using our kit, you want that top link in the uppermost hole. You want the most separation you can get out. Now the downside with that is that at full compression, those links may touch the bottom of the floor. There's a couple of reinforcements that are there. And almost always we trim those so that the link can travel up in there, because they stick down about 3/4 of an inch, and that'll give you, when you magnify that out over 3 feet, that's quite a bit of travel. So just double check that. It's a great question and super common. A lot of the time we're very limited by what we can do underneath the tub. So you just make the best of what you got, and that's the geometry you get. So. Any more on that, or no?
Just several comments about making sure you have a good cage.
Good cage, yeah. And guys, this gentleman also had a GenRight roll cage in here. And, these are all thick wall DOM tubing that should be properly installed and welded by a qualified tech. In this case, this guy really lucked out because he had put his windshield down. And remember the earlier slide where I said, oh, you can slip into this hole? Well, that's what he did. Was he slid, that rear tire slid into the hole, and he ended up rolling back and hitting on this rock. So, oh, it's next. There you go. So it's a tough obstacle. It's very deceiving. The rock is slippery. You can't even walk up this, and on top of that, there's some like sand and dust on it. Again, remember what I said about people standing around? So that should be your first clue, is it's like NASCAR. They're waiting for the crash. So be heads up, play it safe, and my advice is live to wheel another day. If you can't make it, put a couple guys on a strap, do whatever you got to do to continue wheeling. This made for a pretty long day for this gentleman. After we got him winched back over, he had to take all his spark plugs out because the motor was locked up. This delayed the trail ride by hours. So it's just one of those things where luckily he didn't do more damage. His cage hit right on that rock and stopped him there. But it could have been a lot worse. So, yep.
Frank, and I don't want to butcher his last name, so I won't say it. Frank S. says, did you have to pull the plugs on the Terremoto to clean it out before firing it?
No, that's a great question. We did not have to pull the plugs on the Terremoto. We were able to get that uprighted fast enough, and then I let it sit for a minute to make sure that all of the fluids had drained back down. I bumped the motor. I had somebody watch the crank to make sure that it turned. On this one, when we bumped it, the crank did not turn. So we knew right away that it was frozen or hydraulically locked. And the Terremoto actually fired right up, very little smoke, and I was on my way back to the obstacle that had denied me momentarily before that and conquered it. So, yeah, good stuff. Good question. All right, next one here. Oh, here we are winching it back over. So, guys, this took actually more winches. I don't know if we have another picture of that. It took 2 winches. We tried with his own winch. And then here we are with the second winch, right? So you can see we've got a soft shackle on here. We're pulling this one and pulling here. The mistake that was made here, and actually I meant to bring some of those over because I have those cards, the rollover cards that we have. The first thing it says is shut off the engine and put it in park. I'll give you one guess what this guy didn't do. He didn't put it in park. So the moment we pulled this thing over to where it wasn't bound up, it took off, okay? So not a good situation. It yanked Kelly back, this Jeep here, a good few feet, and yeah, that's pretty unnerving. Unfortunately, there was nobody else standing around. They could have got run over. These are all dangerous situations in recovery. So you can tell just based on the shadows, it's early morning, and maybe people hadn't had their coffee yet, but yeah, this made for a pretty interesting day. All right, here's something more fun. This is an absolutely off-the-hook GenRight 4x4 night, Jeep night, that we did here at Trail Hero. Believe it or not, this is the putting green, like the practice green for the golf course, the Sand Hollow Resort. They allowed us to do our Jeep night here. The hill that this picture's being taken from is used for, the rock is used for We Rock competitions. And over here we've got a bar and food vendor. Super nice setup. You can see I've got the Terremoto here with lights on. People are hopping in and I'm giving them rides through the rocks. I think we had 5 vehicles that were doing that. We had the Silver Surfer, we had Cords, we had Marks, we had, I don't know, we had a bunch of them doing rides around there. This is a live band playing music. This is right at the beginning as people were starting to show up. It was a absolutely stellar venue, and we have reached a new high on our Jeep nights, man. This was, you know, one for the record books for sure. We'll be doing this again next year. Everybody had a great time. Weather was perfect. Just super, super nice, and the band was great. So if you missed it, don't miss it next year. Oh, that was it on the stuff. Okay, we got more over here. All right, we got videos. Great. With more questions. Okay.
Terry Runyon says, thoughts on tying the cage to the frame on a JKU?
Okay. Yeah, good question. So a JKU presents a little bit different challenge because the body mounts are so soft. And because the body mounts are so soft, I'll use this as an example. The body moves a lot within the cage, so you gotta hog out a giant hole. What we did was we worked with the engineers at Jeep and came up with a way to attach the cage to the body where it's in super reinforced points that go to the frame. And obviously it worked based on the previous. It also is what allowed me to pass tech at KOH. So guys, we've got this figured out. It's why the GenRight cages have become the standard in the industry. Is we've been making these things for a long time. They're CNC laser cut and mandrel bent, so the tubes are nice. It's all DOM tubing. Basically, it's just good old-fashioned American-made stuff. So we've got it, and that's a great question. In the old days, that was super important because if you ever looked at like an old CJ, man, the way the body was attached, like everything was cheesy. I mean, everybody's seen those pictures of where they've got one in a mud pit and they take off and the body slides right off the frame. That's part of the reason why. So
I arranged these videos because I thought you were reading back and forth. So the
Oh.
videos will be rolling.
Okay.
Or actually at the end.
Okay.
Go to those. Or?
Yeah, no, let's just start. We can talk about this. So what are we watching here? We're watching Kelly.
This is the top of Front Range. The one where, right where we broke the steering.
Okay, so guys, this is a super difficult obstacle. You can see This to me, this is like super impressive. You saw his tires just turning. These are 42s turning effortlessly through this notch. This is ram assist, right? This is like everything we talk about. How well dampened the suspension is. You can see that the vehicle feels very predictable. You can watch it go through here, and it's not shaky and sketchy and like most Jeeps would be. So yeah, you can also tell that you look at that tire, even with the body, that it's not steering Kelly off the obstacle. So that's a big part of what our suspension geometry does. And you can see even little things like the shape of our fenders, it's what's getting him just by the rocks. These are all important aspects that are otherwise very difficult for us to talk about. That are easily overlooked. So yeah, really, really a cool trail. Kelly's getting really good at mastering, that crawling with that big engine. So, but you can see how he feels good, even though he's got that tire just slightly off the ground, able to come up. Again, very positive and predictable. So yeah, huge part of what we're doing. So let's go to the next one.
Alan Alvarez says that he has a video of your rollover.
Awesome.
I told him to send it to you.
There you go. Okay, so this is the chute. And this looks like Craig Colbert.
This is a bunch of people going up it.
Okay.
Craig and that.
So this is Craig Colbert, and he just took delivery of this GenRight Tracer build. And you can see he's got the upgraded aluminum roof, which I highly recommend. That's what I run on the Terremoto as well. Okay, so here's Tommy Dykstra also coming up this. And what you want to do here is you want to just keep moving. The moment you stop, you're forcing the tires to break traction, and your likelihood to slide down into the V is very high. So here's another view of it, I guess. A little closer. Oh, cool. So as a driver, you're basically just looking at all sky, and it's pretty cool. You got a lot of traction, and you just got to keep the hood level. That's what you're focused on, is keeping the hood level. So here's another guy. This is Shane Smith from Missouri, one of the LJ Adventure guys, running his LJ up there. That's a stretched LJ on our Legend suspension. And here's Kelly going up here. Again, you want to be nice and smooth, keep that hood flat. And we've actually got another little obstacle on the other side of this that we really like to wheel too. So here's Adam coming up here. And again, what I don't see are any brake lights, so I'm always looking for that. Adam wheels this Jeep a lot, so he's got a really good feel for it. And that was textbook right there. That was perfect. Here comes Stephen Birch in another Tracer LJ. So walks it really nice.
How does stock wheelbase rigs do on the chute?
Do we have Jeff coming up this? No. The bow tie is 99 inches, and they do okay.
You didn't have any problem on that.
Yeah, they make it. Typically what happens is this first bump right here is where they have trouble, and they end up sliding in one way or the other. I've seen some, XJs that are, what are those, like 101? I've seen some people really get stuck in there down at the bottom pretty nasty. So Tommy's 118.
Yeah.
So
Got a cage question.
okay.
It's Casey Justin Burkett says he wants to watch it later, but he's got 2007 JKUR with full cage. What do I need to switch from hard top to soft top? Just bought a soft top. What do I need to do to switch?
Just the soft top rack kit. It depends on what soft top you got.
Yeah, it does depend. If it's we provide the brackets with the cage kit for the factory soft top. So if they got something else, like all bets are off, because there's.
Well, we sell the bracket for the Trek top.
We sell those separately.
Yeah.
Yep. But there's so many different top manufacturers out there and stuff. I don't even bother trying to keep up with all that stuff. To me, that's like you're making your own bet if you want to go down the crazy, off-brand path. Our cages, every single one, I don't care if you're buying a CJ or a JL, are made to fit the factory hard or soft top. Okay, so as long as that's what you have, it fits. You're good. Don't even think about it. It goes right on. So,
Dennis Sargent asks, does the aluminum top get hot? He lives in Vegas.
It does not. In fact, aluminum dissipates the heat quite well. If you'll notice, a lot of these guys just had them silver, so a lot of reflectivity. Mine actually has a wrap on it, and you can rest your hand on there even in the dead of summer. It's not that big of a deal. I have had some people that do like a headliner material that has a small amount of foam, and that further insulates it. But it really hasn't been a problem. And the safety factor, guys, that's 1/8 inch thick 6061 aluminum. You radically improve the safety of the vehicle by having that aluminum roof on there. So that's the same spec that would be for an Ultra 4 car. All right, what do we got here?
I think this is you.
Oh, this is the roll. Okay, does it just replay?
It should, yeah.
So I'm trying to back up to get lined up over here, and then it rolls over. It's kind of low res. Sorry about that, but you get an idea. So, and you can see right away this person, whoever this is, comes running quick. Like we don't mess around. We don't stand there and go, oh, hope they're okay. We're on it.
When it rolled over, what was the first thing you did? Talk about that.
Yeah, you keep your hands in.
Hands in.
I shut off the engine and put it in park. That's right. Yeah, before my vehicle rested back on its side, the engine was off. So now the good news is, here we go, winch it back over. Okay, so now you can see how that winch line runs over the top. Well, thing's going to rotate around. So here's the vehicle that we had put in place. And this is where I was saying, you could see that now, once we got to this point, they asked me to pull forward so the vehicle would level out. But now you can see the winch line wrapping over the top. So, great example of a good, successful recovery. And fortunately, since I had just raced this thing at KOH, we have a lot of fluid containment devices on the vehicle. So the axles, the transfer case, the transmission all go into little catch cans, including the gas tank being well vented, where the vent goes actually to the high side of the gas tank. So even if you roll all the way onto the lid, the gas can't leak. So some pretty cool devices that if you're going to be a serious wheeler and out there pushing the limits, then you may want to implement some of those things. So, all right, any questions on any of this stuff? No?
That's it on video.
Okay. By the way, this is the brand new Warn VR winch. So that's their low buck, brand new low cost winch. So did a fine job getting me back over. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next one. Are we at the end? That's all we got?
Yeah, we can go back to the beginning.
Or we can go back over here? Yeah.
Talk about this upcoming Friday.
Sure. All right. By the way, if you guys have questions, get them in. We only have about 10 minutes left. on this one, so please get those questions in. This coming Friday, we're not going to do something quite this cool, but it will be pretty cool. We're going to be meeting over at the Westlake Autoscape, and that's a giant indoor facility that is made for car guys, right? It's like joining a golf country club, but this is for car guys. So we're going to have the rare opportunity to go over there. I can tell you that Jordan is going, for the first time, will have his Ultra 4 independent suspension car at a Jeep night. So this will be the first time, and you guys will get to see it up close right here in town. So it's going to be really nice. We're going to have a food vendor there, so for $10 you can eat if you're hungry, and it is a bring your own beverage kind of a gathering. So whether that's water or soda or whatever you want to drink, bring it, and they will not be selling any beverages, so but they will have food. So pretty cool. I know it's going to be huge. We're going to have a lot of people there. It's a unique location that we've got an opportunity to be able to do this there, and it's a really cool facility. So if you get a chance, please join us for this Friday Jeep night, GenRight Jeep night here in our local area. So that's going to be pretty fun. What else we got, Richard? Boy, everybody's pretty quiet. Unbelievable.
George Kane wants to bring Debbie back. Says I'm not reading the questions. I told him. I replied to him. Told him I'll send him pictures of his wedding.
Funny stuff.
Did you see the JL Elite?
I just saw him.
Lift kits for the JL?
What are the questions?
Can we please get the JLU Elite suspension update?
Yeah. So I had a lot of questions about that, by the way, while we were out at Trail Hero. So we were trying to have it done to go out there. We've made a few other changes that have delayed our ability to finish that up and get it done. We are actively working on it, and I can assure you that as soon as we've got that done, it's going to be really, really, really cool.
Are you doing JL diesel lift kits?
Negative. Diesel makes up 8% of the market. That is not enough for us to do anything with that or the 4-cylinder turbo. We will only be supporting the 3.6 gas with the 8-speed. So if you want to get our stuff, that's what you better have.
2014 JKU.
Yep.
Can I run the flat belly skid with stock suspension and the GenRight gas tank?
So that's a great question. We're about to post a new gallery for Erin's Jeep. I don't know if she's got a name for that, but she has just put the Curry axles underneath there with the coil springs and standard shocks, and she is phasing into the GenRight Elite. We might even be able to do next Thursday's show on that, talk about that a little bit. But what's going to happen now is she'll have to get the gas tank, which allows her to move it to the back, okay? You still don't have the cross members there to put the flat belly. So then she's going to have to do the front cross member and the rear cross member, make brand new arms. She can still leave the coil springs and shocks, get the flat belly, and then later on, last step, do the coilovers and air bumps. By the way, guys, the coilovers and air bumps are about $8,500 of the price for the kit. So that's a big chunk of the kit, or the biggest chunk of the kit. So you can really get into the rest of it fairly inexpensively. By the way, of the rides that I gave, we parked right next to somebody else's JK that had 40s on it. The Terramoto was 5 inches lower. That's a long way. That's miles, okay? And I had the same belly clearance. So that just gives you an idea of where we're at. More questions?
Yeah, Jeremy Balky. Tony, installing sliders soon. He's got a JKU.
Yep.
You know that.
Didn't that happen today?
Yes. When you powder coated your sliders for Terramoto, did you do texture for the black portion? Oops,
I
stop
think that's
skipping
the
on
right
me.
tape that we put on it.
And the rash guard get powder coated on the inside as well as the outside.
Yeah, so let's start with the rash guards. The rash guards, you would powder coat both sides. Powder coating is an electric. They charge the material, and then the powder sticks to it, and then it goes through an oven where it melts. So it'll get whatever sides the powder gets sprayed on. But yes, you'd want to do both sides. If we're talking about the black strip that I have, which you could probably see, I put a small, like 1-inch strip of grip tape on mine because I found that every once in a while when my sliders are wet or the bottom of my shoe is wet, that, oh man, you can't even see it there. Maybe we've got a picture here. But you want that extra grip. Oh, you can almost see it right here. But it's a black strip that I put right there. So if I get up to wash the windshield or just as I'm getting in and out, my foot's not slippery. If you're talking about the kick plate, I did that in the same powder coat that matches the fenders and the bumpers. So it's, I don't know, BK08 or something is the number. But yeah, just, do it to match whatever you got. In this case, it's kind of a semi-gloss black, I think is what it is.
Nathan Riley asks, he's got an 05 LJ, he's got an L92, and he wants to know if the Kevco oil pan you sell works for the L92 6.2 liter swap into the 05.
It does. It absolutely does. And you'll really want that because it's got trap doors inside that keep all the oil that come down into the pan right by the pickup. So that when you're doing stuff like this, the oil or the motor's not running out of oil because of the way it returns. So whether you're going up or down, you'll hear a lot of people's engines starve for oil. You'll start hearing the lifters clack and stuff. And you don't want that. So yeah, Kevco is a great upgrade for you.
Eric Brady, why are you running ball joints and not kingpins?
I actually don't mind the ball joints. I've run them for almost ever, and what got me started on ball joints was the ability to mount. I don't know if we have it here. I'll look. To mount the shock, it had to do with on the knuckle. So with a kingpin, there's a bunch of stuff in the way, and I wanted the ability to be able to move that shock out. The other side of it is that the kingpin only uses the super old school locking hubs that are big. And I like the newer style unit bearings that have the short hub so it doesn't stick outside the wheel because we're running a 4 3/4, 5-inch backspace wheel. And that's a much better platform. Guys, don't be fooled in thinking that the kingpins are stronger. The C on those is very, very tiny, and they've just got, I don't know if you looked at them close, but that stuff is not thick. So yeah, the little chunk they've got on the top and bottom is pretty good, but on a ball joint, the knuckle is much bigger. So don't be fooled into thinking that you're getting something that's that much better. I've seen them all break. So, that's the picture I was looking for actually, where we put the shock mount way out here. So this was on our Legend kits, and this is the way we did it to get the spring and dampening control as far out to the wheels as we could. But, look at how beefy that C is. I guarantee you what's on a kingpin is half that thick. So, and it's not as wide. So just like anything, the more leverage you've got, the better off you are. Ball joints, especially if you're buying good name brand ones like Dana Spicer, you're not going to have any problems. If you buy those cheap import or off brands, man, you might as well buy the Heim rod ends from McMaster Car and that run a screen door. So, guys, you get what you pay for. That's all I can say.
Frank S., the guy couldn't pronounce his name before, with the JKU, says he's got a short arm, 3-inch. Do I have to cut the body to fit 40s? And if so, do you have any suggestions?
The only place, I don't know if I can see in this picture here, a lot of the time the only place you have to cut is right here and right there to fit a 40. Now, that said, the front gets a lot more complicated because you're probably not running a 5-inch backspace wheel like I am, which pivots right on. So you're going to have something that swings radically because you probably got some offset wheel, and that's going to dig into the inner fender. So unless you have the ability to move that front end forward and do some other trick stuff, or you're gone with a wider axle where you can get really deeply backspace wheels, then that's how you solve that problem. What else?
Eric Brady asks, can you run the GenRight JKU gas tank with your shocks in the factory location?
Yes. So you got a couple of things going on there. The 20 and the 25 gallon JK gas tank that we sell fits with the factory shock location, no problem. When you go to the bigger tank like I have or like Cord has, that's the 36 gallon, and that relies on the fact that you have the coilovers.
He's asking about with our shocks.
GenRight
JKU gas tank with your shocks in the factory location.
No.
No.
So that's like a Rebel
That's a
kit.
no.
That's dorky. They hang down way too low. They end up having to put really heavy spring rates. Stop buying parts from companies that don't design this stuff. That they're making bolt-on kits and stuff, guys. You're getting junk, and you're going to be frustrated with it. We all day long when we stood at our booth, we talked to those guys about how frustrated they are with these piles of crap they bought and spent lots of money instead of just going and getting the real McCoy JK Elite suspension. So don't be fooled. If I could make it cheaper, I would offer that same crappy setup, but I'm not gonna. So it's not worth the money. I don't believe in it. This is the only way to do it, period. And I've proven that over and over again. KOH, I mean, we flopped this thing, and the next day or the same day I was out drag racing it. So guys, the thing's like bulletproof. So, and I guess we're going to show that on Thursday. So what else we got?
That's it.
That we're doing pretty good. There was something else I was going to mention. Oh, I do have the GenRight windshield guards on here too, and those took a pretty good beating. They did their job. Why don't I say that? That was a good as well. We're just about out of time, so if we don't have any other last-second questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for watching. I've enjoyed sharing our Trail Hero 2020 experience with you guys. We'll have a little bit more on Thursday to share with you guys. We took thousands and thousands of pictures and video, so we've got a ton of stuff, and I will wrangle up some other stuff to talk about too. Like I said, as always, we welcome your questions. I'm stoked you guys are watching and appreciate it. We will see you next Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks.